Something we haven't talked about a lot yet in this course is voice. So in writing, voice simply refers to how a piece of writing sounds, but within that broad definition there are two main kinds of voice. One is a natural voice, that is, it's just a bit of writing that comes out of who we are, how we sound, and it sounds like us. So if somebody met us in the street and we started chatting, they'd think, oh yeah, I recognise that tone or language use in the written expression. But the other kind of voice is a masked voice, which is when a writer puts aside their own kind of way of speaking or doing or being or whatever to write a narrative as if it is the character who's doing the writing. So there will be a different syntax, a different language use, and a different expression that will successfully convey the character. Now, a great example of that, for my money, is one of my favourite books, which is Memoirs of a Geisha. The book was written by a middle-aged American man. So, he's a very distinctive kind of person, a distinctive kind of voice. But in the book, the voice of the book is that of a Japanese girl, a little girl who grows up to become a geisha. And there is something hugely believable and compelling because of the way that Arthur Golden has written the narrative, that I just believe it's the girl talking to me, not literally, but in context of the fiction. And so that's a really good example of a masked voice. The point I'd like to make here, though, is that for many new writers, they kind of put on a masked voice. They adopt a voice for wrong reasons, not to convey a particular character or a particular story or a particular time period. For instance, it's quite useful to adopt a voice to suit historical fiction, because what was authentic back in the 1600s or the 1800s or so on is just not authentic today. So it's often people who write historical fiction, they will basically have to change their voice to give their historical fiction a true voice that resonates with the reader. But what happens is a new writer will just put on a voice because they don't trust their own voice. They may not believe in it enough, or they may think it's not interesting enough, or it just doesn't sound like other people's stories, or whatever it is. And so they sort of get a falseness or a formality or something that just doesn't quite ring true with their stories. And what I really want to encourage you, especially as you're starting out as a writer, is number one, don't worry about your voice. It will come as you learn techniques and as you tell your story, and as all those things kind of meld together, your voice will come through. So don't try and sound like someone else. Just write your own words. Just write in your own way, learning and applying techniques and principle, marrying that story in, and just trust that the process will work. And that's a way, by doing that, you'll actually start to discover what your voice is, because when you read something back, you'll think, oh, I like the cheeky style of that, or I like the passion through that, or I like that musing literary feel, or whatever it is that becomes your natural voice. And when you kind of can identify that, I believe, but this is my opinion, that from there you can start launching successfully out and using other voices strongly, because you've kind of got that strong platform. You know who you are, you know what your writing voice is, you know that's your strength, and from there you're going to know how to take it off in different directions. So for your assessment work, for the course assessments, it's going to sound contradictory, I don't mean it to. Don't worry about your voice, just tell your story, just create that story, write it out, use the principles, and just trust that whoever you are is going to flow through and colour that story to give it the unique kind of feel and vibe that makes it individually you.